Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to another video from Travels. So it's been quite some time, hasn't it, since I made my last video. I was back there in St. Petersburg. So obviously I'm back in the UK now, and yeah, I haven't really been in the mood for making videos lately. You've got to be in the right frame of mind. So everybody, a serious video I wanted to make today about the terrorist attack at Crocus Hall in Moscow. So of course, first of all, I want to pass on my condolences to anybody that was caught up in the attack. It was absolutely horrific. What is the death toll? Like 150 something approximately. So yeah, it was an absolutely savage and inhuman attack, and yeah, for me there was echoes of course, the Bataclan attack in Paris, and there was another theatre attack in Russia, and yeah, also even worse attacks in the past, like Beslan, for example. That was just absolutely horrific. Yeah, everybody, so this attack was very upsetting for me, very much hurt me, so I'm kind of bleeding with Russian people, because, you know, I spent a lot of time in the post-Soviet sphere, let's say. I spent a lot of time living in Ukraine. My most recent experience has been in Russia. I spent time in Belarus and other post-Soviet countries, so yeah, this one kind of hits home a bit for me. Yeah, so I remember when I read about it on the internet, I can't quite remember what website I was on, but I just remember seeing something about yeah, terror attack in Russia, and I was hoping whatever I saw was a historical story and it's not actually in the present. And I didn't see anything in the mainstream media, and of course, if these days, if you want up-to-date fresh information, you have to go into social media. So Telegram is often the best place to get your information on this part of the world. Yeah, so when I saw their attackers at this Crocus Hall complex, and I saw the death toll initially, you know, it was a handful. I knew it was going to be much worse, because obviously you had guys going in there with automatic weapons, and you know, there would have been a hell of a lot of people. I still don't know how many people were in the theatre. We know the death toll, but I don't know how many people were in the theatre at the time. But you know, it was very upsetting to see the early videos where you know, people didn't know quite what was going on. They were sitting in the theatre getting ready for this show by Picnic, this band called Picnic. I've never heard of them, but maybe I'll look into them. Unfortunately, it's sometimes sad events that make you look up this kind of information. Yeah, so I remember just seeing people in the initial stages of this attack inside the theatre, not quite knowing what was going on, and they were fairly calm then. And yeah, you saw these people, and then you just heard the gunshots, and there was panic. And I was thinking to myself, how many people, you know, that I saw there are now dead. So everybody, let's get on to talking about who could be responsible for this utterly wicked and depraved act of terror. So pretty quickly it came out that ISIS had claimed responsibility for this attack, and there was some kind of video afterwards. But the thing is with ISIS, you know, when you hear ISIS is responsible for a terror attack, you just think to yourselves, well, it's ISIS, what do you expect? And you kind of move on, don't you? So yeah, it's quite convenient that it would be placed on ISIS. But why, you know, they've been relatively quiet in the last few years. Why would they just come out of the blue like this and decide to slaughter all those people? They haven't given any solid reason for why they did it. Lately I heard something about the Chechen Wars. I mean, come on, the Chechen Wars was back in the 1990s, for Christ's sake. So that seems like a weak excuse. Yeah, everybody, so let's look at the details of this attack. So the perpetrators, I won't call them suspects because it's pretty damn obvious that they did it. The 4 perpetrators said they're in contact with somebody in a mosque on Telegram who radicalized them into doing it. They don't know who this person was, but they got paid something like $7,000 or $8,000, I believe. It was 500,000 rubles, I believe the amount is. So what's that? 100 rubles to the pound, or 110, something like. Yeah, so I think about 7,000 or 8,000 rubles, that's about right. Now that is not each, that's between all of them. So you know that money, I mean, even for the poorest bugger, you know, the chances of somebody saying, hey, if you massacre as many people as you can in Russia, we're going to give you the equivalent of less than $2,000 each. There's not going to be many people that would sign up for that. So there's obviously some religious radicalization going on, or they just wanted to do it. So these subhuman swines were trained to do the job. You know, somebody just didn't throw them some guns and say, hey, you go into that shopping center, theater, and kill as many people as possible. So apparently they were trained in Turkey. At least one of the perpetrators took a flight from Turkey to Russia. Yeah, everybody, so they committed their heinous deed and then they tried to flee as fast as possible to the border with Ukraine. So Russia saying that they had contacts on the Ukrainian-Russian border that were going to help them into the country. So obviously these guys wanted to get away with it. Now usually in these kind of situations they're happy, they're going in with explosive belts. I heard something about one of them could have had explosives. I'm not sure if that's confirmed, but normally they go in with explosive belts, blow themselves up into 1,000 bits, and then they go to heaven where they get their, you know, 56 virgins or whatever. Yeah, so it's a bit odd that they didn't want to martyr themselves. They wanted to get away with it, and they thought they could get away with it. So after the attack, instead of, you know, just acting normal and trying to blend in, they got hold of a car that was supplied by some other suspect, and they fled as fast as possible to Ukraine. Now, it seems like a really stupid idea, and of course these guys seem to be very low IQ individuals, because every road coming out of Moscow would have been monitored for any, you know, dodgy, fast traveling cars with acting erratically. So yeah, this speeding white Renault, whatever it was ended up being fired upon by the police not far away from the Ukrainian border, I think it was. I'm not exactly sure how close to the border it was. And then at least one of them escaped into the forest, and they chased after him. He tried to climb a tree. They got hold of him, and yeah, that's when all this guy's nightmares started coming true. Yeah, everyone, so prior to the attack, I think it was March the 7th, America gave Russia a warning saying that there's terrorists planning attacks in the country. And I'm not sure how seriously Russia took these warnings. America didn't give anything specific. And the fact that they didn't give anything specific is probably why Russia might not have taken it very seriously, because, you know, obviously relations between the two countries are at an all-time low. So yeah, you'd have to ask yourself how America knew that something was going to happen in the country. And you also have to ask yourself how they're so sure right from the start that it was ISIS. It's like some kind of childish thing, you know, where some kid's been accused of something and they automatically say it was him. So yeah, they were very quick to point the finger, America. And that's why that would lead some to believe it was them. they're at least involved in this attack. But you also could say, to be objective as possible, that you know, they were worried about the reaction coming from Russia. Maybe they'd make some very strong immediate reaction in Ukraine. So America wanted to say straight away that they're not responsible. So that's possible as well. So yeah, I understand all these guys involved in the attack were Wahhabis. So they had the big bushy beards and the shaven moustache look. Now, some people will say that it's not possible that the West or America / the CIA could be involved in such an act of wickedness. But, you know, let's look at some recent events that I'm not saying they were responsible for. I'm not pointing the finger. Everybody can make up their own minds. But we have the Nord Stream attack, of course, that the Americans tried to pin on Russia, blowing up their own pipeline. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. But remember, you had statements from Biden and somebody else. I can't remember who it is, but I added into the video saying that they're going to take care of Nord Stream.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly, since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control?
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
One thing, but I'm literally talking about rolling back the pipeline. And you can loosely define that, but I mean taking action that will prevent it from ever becoming operational.
I think if President Putin moves on Ukraine, our expectation is that the pipeline will be suspended.
Well, I certainly hope that the Senate Foreign Relations Committee would take up legislation to go beyond just suspending it, but from ending it permanently.
There's also an investigation carried out by Seymour Hersh, who's a very seasoned and well-respected journalist that pointed the finger to America. But also Ukraine and perhaps Sweden could have been complicit in the Nord Stream attack. And most recently, there was that leaked telephone conversation from the German military where they were discussing blowing up the Kerch Bridge, and they admitted that was authentic. So, you know, let's not say that the West are not capable of such attacks. And yeah, and talking about ISIS, we heard President Trump talking about President Obama recently and how he believed that he created ISIS. And then we have Ukraine, of course. So, of course, Ukraine were capable of this Crocus attack. And then we have another player who could potentially be involved, and that's Israel / Mossad, because they've been quite unhappy about Russia receiving Hamas in Russia and appearing to be on Hamas's side in the war. And there was that politician who was in Netanyahu's party who went on to Russia Today, I'll add that in as well, ranting and raving, saying Russia's going to pay for this. You're on the side of the genocidal maniacs in Palestine and all this kind of stuff. It's quite a shocking video.
Russia is supporting the enemies of Israel. Russia is supporting Nazi people who want to commit genocide on us, and just Russia will pay the price. Russia also. Now listen to me very carefully. We are going to finish with these Nazis. We're going to win this war. It's going to take the time it's going to take, but we're going to win this war. Afterwards, we're not forgetting what you are doing. We're not forgetting. We will come. We will make sure that Ukraine wins. We will make sure that you pay the price for what you have done. You as Russia, and you and as all the enemies of Israel, and you as all the people who are now making everything they can to support genocide of the Jews in Israel. We are not forgetting. We are not forgetting. Remember exactly what I'm saying now. You will pay the price.
Here.
Well, people have been massacred. My people is being slaughtered by your proxies, and you will pay the price. Is it clear? Believe me, you
no,
will
I don't
regret
actually
this.
think it is clear.
Very, very, very sternly. And when people support murder of Jews, people pay the price.
So yeah, I mean, they definitely could be involved, but you know, you can't just put the blame at everybody that's been ranting and raving something about Russia, because we're in a very delicate time at the moment. We're in a war footing, so there's a lot of rhetoric going around. Lovely bunch of spring daffodils here, everybody, in a nice orchard. I have to say, England's a beautiful country, especially in springtime. Oh, for God's sake, everybody, I should have bought my wellies. I keep the camera rolling, so if I do fall, you can have a good laugh. Okay, it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, everybody, I'm back in the graveyard again. I'm not sure why I'm drawn back here again, but I suppose it's setting the scene, isn't it? So just come across a grave here. Alfred Hitchcock. Surely not the Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, back in the old days, there's probably a common name. 1930, it's only 100 years ago, not a very old grave to be honest, by English standards. Tell you what, I was a little bit spooked back there. I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye, something black a couple of times, but probably just the edge of my contact lenses. Yeah, everybody, so let's get back to the topic in hand. Now, I wanted to talk about the torture of these terrorists. Let's call them what they are. So, obviously, when they apprehended these bastards, and the Russian security services gave them a very nasty time indeed. So we can see in court, one of them was missing an ear. I saw the video where his ear was being cut off, then it was shoved in his mouth, and yeah, then in court we saw the other suspects that looked like they had a rough time since they were captured, all bruised and beaten. So I thought this is absolutely fantastic, to be honest. And I was looking in the British media, and a lot of people were saying the same. They said, there's some comments that saying, look, I don't agree with Russia with a lot of things, but they're absolutely spot on. Because you know what happens in the UK with terrorists? First of all, they try to claim that they were mentally ill, drugged, drunk, something like this. And they'll do their best to make this pass. You know, try and hide the identity somehow, blurry photos of the perpetrator to hide his ethnicity. And then what will happen, everybody, is the British media will go to the family of these terrorists, and they'll sit down, they'll have a nice cup of tea, some biscuits, and they'll be told by the mother or the father, oh, he was such a good boy. I don't know what happened. He was always very helpful around the house, always very well mannered. He was helping out at his local mosque, helping grannies cross the road and all this stuff. So yeah, everybody, this attack has brought up the discussion about whether Russia should reintroduce the death penalty, and I don't think it's necessary for them to do that, because these guys are not going to last very long anyway. Soon they're going to be wishing they were dead, because they're going to be going to the Gulag in northern Russia somewhere, and they're going to be treated just the same way as they treated all those innocent civilians in Moscow. And yeah, I don't expect them to last for very long, so I don't think it's necessary at all to reintroduce the death penalty. Some Russians will say they want it, and that's fine. I'm not going to argue with them. But why play God when you can just have some fun with these bastards? So yeah, guys, imagine it was you, and you were in the British police, and there was a terrorist attack carried out in the UK, let's say the Manchester bombing or something like that, and you're chasing after the suspects. I would be seething with hate and bad emotions for these guys, and I think anybody in the same situation would like to take off an ear or something like that. In the very least, they'd like to do a lot more, but like I said, they wanted them to suffer. So I see nothing wrong with this whatsoever. Oh, okay guys, we're out of the creepy graveyard. So I don't know who carried out this heinous attack, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't ISIS. So they're just the bogeyman to pin everything on. So yeah, like I said, everybody kind of forgets about it. Okay everybody, so my camera battery just died there, so didn't quite get to say everything I wanted to say. So now I'm on my dodgy Samsung phone. It's a good opportunity to show you my camera now. That's what I record with. Sony FDR X3000. It's popular with many YouTubers. Yeah, can't go wrong with Sony. Solid. Anyway, I wanted to say that yeah, these terrorists turned out to be from Tajikistan. Now, Tajikistan, you know, is known for terrorists in the past, let's say. I remember one case where there was a terrorist attack on a bunch of cyclists who were in the country. It was pretty gruesome, where they just ploughed into them all. But we can't stigmatize the Tajik people. Unfortunately, it will happen now, at least for a while, in Russia, because there's a lot of emotion flowing around and they want somebody to blame. So at least for a while, until things calm down a bit. It might not be very good for Tajiks there. I heard of people like cancelling work with Tajikis in the country and stuff like that. Could be rumours, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the majority of Tajik people, of course, are good law-abiding citizens in Russia. So yeah, everybody, I was worried at the beginning, like many others, that Russia would make a knee-jerk reaction and to this attack and go into Ukraine and do some things there, but it seems like they're carrying out a reasoned and objective investigation into this. I mean, they've said that they believe Ukraine is responsible. I'm not sure what intelligence they have. I heard of some possible leak from the Ukrainian embassy in Tajikistan. Yeah, but they're going to need to gather some evidence. Yeah, and in times like these, countries need to be united. So Russia needs to be united at the moment, and I do see a lot of that in the country. I think in general they're a very united country, especially compared to the United Kingdom, which is anything but, I would say. I mean, you saw the polling results in the election. You say what you like about the election and Putin. I'm just saying that he won an overwhelming majority, and of course there are reasons for that, but facts are facts. Now, some people also said that this is a massive security failure on the part of Russia. But then again, people saying that from countries like America, where they have an open border policy there pretty much. You have thousands of illegal migrants coming over the southern border every day with very little resistance whatsoever. Undocumented, can be murderers, rapists and what have you. Anyway, guys, I don't want to get too political, and I said I don't want to point the finger either or go off on a tangent about something else. So those are my thoughts with regard to this heinous attack, and once again I extend my deepest condolences to anybody that's caught up in the attack, because just absolutely gruesome, and I feel the pain as well. So that's it from soggy Bath, everybody. So yeah, gave my 2 cents on this whole thing. Like I said, I don't want to be political or start finger pointing, but yeah, I'm just hoping that this sorry saga won't be repeated in Russia or anywhere else. So yeah, it's goodbye from soggy and damp Bath. I'm going home now. Unfortunately, not into one of these multi-million-pound mansions. But yeah, if I get any other thoughts, I'll knock out another video again soon. See you later.